Episode 9F21, the cleverly titled Homer's Barbershop Quartet, first broadcast September 30th, 1993. I'm Matt Groening.
This is Mike Reese, the showrunner on this show. Hey, before we go, what is I will never win an Emmy? Did we lose an Emmy that year?
I think Claymation Easter had just beaten us.
Okay, sorry.
So we showed
Claymation
them.
Easter was great.
This is LG, and I was another of the showrunners, and this episode was a holdover recorded in season 4, although it aired the following fall.
This is Jeff Martin. I wrote this episode and thought of the title.
This is Mark Kirkland. I was the animation director on this episode.
This is John Lovitz. I was not in this episode. I'm just here to make jokes and entertain you.
This is Hank Azaria. I was in this episode, but really I'm mostly here to be entertained by John.
So where did this episode come from, Jeff? This was just an idea that was thought of in the room to do, let's have Homer be in a barbershop quartet and do a big parody of the Beatles. And I was an obsessive Beatles fan, so I guess that made me a natural to write it.
Wow. Why'd we go with all of these? This is, I mean, it's great.
Look at this creative couch gag.
Probably the episode was short.
It might have been short. Was this our premiere then for that season?
It was our
that
premiere.
season.
There was a big story about that, which was Conan had written a show called Homer Goes to College, and Fox wanted to premiere with that because they thought, oh, Homer in college will be like Animal House. But this show had a beetle in it.
Yeah.
A real live beetle. And then it was very hard to
From your
convince them to
garden?
air it first. What?
From your garden?
No, George Harrison.
Oh.
I'm
God
just saying,
rest
he
his
thought
soul.
that was a really exciting thing.
Yeah.
So we finally won the day with that.
Springfield Swap Meet patron.
This was a really
Who's
fun
doing this
episode
voice?
to do.
I don't even remember.
That's Dan.
Unlike many really good episodes, there wasn't any much trouble on this one, was it?
This
It's
one
just
was fun. It was
I
just
think we-
fun. Everyone liked doing Beatles-type gags. They liked the barbershop music, and they liked the
That was me.
mid-80s
That was one of the most
gags.
insane Mo gags ever written. Mo imitating Lucille Ball for no reason.
Well, that actually exists. I actually saw those in a swap meet in Florida. Clamshell Lucy's.
That one had a pearl in it, though. It's definitely worth the price.
With this episode, too, I think it was like last month of school phenomenon where a lot of the writers were leaving. So it was kind of nostalgic. You know, we were just looking back on the first 4 years of the show, and but we all came back.
Yeah, they took her off the market after some.
That was a censor note. They didn't want us to do
Hank,
that
wasn't
joke.
that you?
That was me.
Yeah, we
Thank
should
you,
actually
John.
say that's
Thanks
called
for
the
my-
wise guy voice, although
That's
it's a
the
lot
wise
like
guy.
Charles Bronson.
It's basically Charles Bronson, correct?
Prisoner 24601, whatever it is. That's Jean Valjean's prisoner number in Les
Duh.
Miserables.
That's Harry Shearer, isn't it?
That's Harry Skinner.
Now, did you say, Jeff, that you actually saw Oyster Shell Lucy's or you saw Bible trading cards?
Oyster Shell Lucy.
Wow.
Junk.
These are very clever references. It's the original Superman, right, and the most famous irregular stamp.
The animation on this, I watched it yesterday, my first time in years watching it, and I recalled when we got the script, all the animators just fell in love with the tracks that we got in the music. And I don't think there's anything spectacular in our animation, but we just loved working on it, and we tried to come up to the level of the music and the singing.
Yeah, maybe you can even start talking about it now, Jeff, because we intermixed our cast singing with a real barbershop quartet.
Right. Well, there's this barbershop quartet at Disneyland, the Dapper Dans, and they're very good. And so when we started doing this episode, I called Disneyland and got in touch with them, and they were happy to do it. And,
Please let us out of Disneyland.
What now?
Please let us out of Disneyland.
More than happy to
Hello,
do
we'll
it.
sign.
Yes. Get back in your poo
Wait,
costume.
how did you know them? But how did you know of them?
Seeing them sing on Main Street in
Oh, there you
Disneyland.
You went all the way to Anaheim.
People Express introduced a generation of hicks to plane travel.
Whenever we do these, it's the Dapper Dan singing, except we mixed in our cast here and there. That's all our cast. And here, the only cast member is Hank, is Chief Wiggum.
Every afternoon at Moe's, Chief Wiggum, principal.
Generally speaking, one of our cast members would sing the melody, and the others are the Dapper Dans.
The Beatle references obviously start here, where Moe's Cavern is the Cavern Club, and then Chief
Right.
Wiggum is Pete Best. And I think that was one of the things where once we hit on the Beatles, then we really wanted to do it because everybody in the staff loved all the Beatles Arcana so much.
And I, too, directing it, felt I've been a huge Beatles fan my whole life, so I enjoyed plugging him in visually and just trying to make sure they were correct and things like that.
But the great thing about this show is then you go, oh, can we get an actual Beatle to appear in it? And you do. It's really
So George
amazing.
Harrison did his own voice?
It's really his own
Yeah.
voice.
Wow.
There's a story about
This
that.
show has everything. Everything except Jews.
Well,
What do
he
you
brings
think,
up a
Hank?
How do
touchy
you
point, but
explain
he's
that?
right. There are no Jews.
No
In
Jews.
Springfield.
No
Look, John, we're on
Jews.
your side. We know
Actually,
what you're
we
trying
just
to say.
heard
It's
from
just
the
too
old
early.
Jewish man.
Yeah.
Krusty's Jewish.
in the show, John. You missed it, you bastard.
This may kill the series, but 3 of our
See?
regular
Church.
cast members
Why
are
couldn't it have been a
Jewish.
temple?
The other fun thing to do with the animation was the choreography. We had this beautiful harmony, and we tried to have our characters look like they're fitting to the sound, basically. And so, but it was fun. The animators, we had a lot of fun just coming up with like things like this.
Goodbye.
Oh, I did want to say, because we just saw Jailbird. Hank, weren't both Jailbird and Comic Book Guy based loosely on people you knew?
Both of them based on people I went to college with, yeah.
Homer, I'm a theatrical agent, and I want to represent your group.
Really?
You've got it.
Comic book guy is a guy who talked like this. His name was F. He lived next door to me. I don't know what his real name was, but everyone called him F.
Wow.
Wow.
I get more questions about him than any character. They
Comic
go,
book guy?
who's he based on, and who? And
I
he's,
heard that people thought he was
And
based
everybody
on
thinks
Ralph
he's based
Bakshi.
on a specific guy that they know.
yes, I mean that's
Yeah.
how. Especially the design, I think is so universal. And in fact, there's a comic book store in our neighborhood here, where the owner of it looks just like Comic Book
Is that
Guy.
I have some sad news for you. It's under new management.
Oh no!
He's not there anymore.
Oh.
But yes, he looked just like it.
What character runs it now?
No, it's
No, the guy
totally
looks like
different
comic
group.
book.
Yeah. It's a.
You know, I always... David Merkin, who ran the show for a while, he was such a Beatles freak that I always remembered this as a David Merkin show, but
No.
no, it is not.
No, I think actually it was B that wanted to start putting Beatles stuff in, but everybody wanted to do it once the idea came in. It was
But Merkin did
such
do
a universe.
the Paul
Merkin is probably
McCartney
the
show,
most,
right?
you know, the biggest fanatic on the staff.
Yeah.
Yes. I can tell a story about George Harrison, which was when he came in to record the show. It was supposed to be a big secret, and the casting director told Mike Reese and me, George Harrison's coming in. You can't tell anybody. It's not supposed to be, you know, public. So you can go see him, but keep it secret. So we said, oh, we've got some editing to do, and we like snuck out of the rewrite room, and then Matt was there. And then we came back with Matt, and he comes in the room and goes, guess who I just met, George Harrison.
Well, I didn't get the word that we were going to say.
So we felt like the
so
world's
mad
biggest
at us.
idiots.
Well, I didn't. I do remember, though, that George Harrison came into the studio in West L.A. by himself. No
Yes, he did.
entourage, no bodyguards, no nothing. And I remember him being pretty glum, you know, and wasn't very enthusiastic when we asked him Beatles questions. But I asked him about the Wonderwall album, and he suddenly perked up because it was talking about a solo album he probably didn't get asked about, and he went on and on about how great Eric Clapton was and how much fun he had doing that album.
Was he a nice guy?
Yeah, super nice.
Very sweet.
I remember as we went into the room where he was recording after he's done, and you know, like to shake his hand, he goes, "You just want to get in the room with me, don't you?" And it was like, "Yes, that's right."
We should explain this is sort of a steal of Frank Fontaine.
Oh, Crazy Guggenheim,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah.
Oh.
On the old Jackie Gleason show, he was this drunk that basically Barney is based on, I think.
That's Crazy Guggenheim?
Yeah,
Well,
and
the
then,
fact that
and then he
he-
would always sing, and he had a beautiful voice. He'd sing an old-fashioned song at the end. So, but this is really Dan Castellaneta singing.
But the premise was always he'd get
This is
Joe
Dan
the bartender
Castellaneta
really.
singing?
Yes.
Dan sings for Barney, yeah.
Oh, why did he say his nice voice?
Irish stereotype.
Well, that's the old Irish guy who was beaten up on Whacking Day.
Yeah.
Well, we found Irish are the only ethnic group you can really make fun. We do Italians too. We're very embarrassed to say, but that's it.
Girls you paid to scream are doing a great job.
No, I didn't pay any girls to scream.
Remember, the internal direction on that line was too big.
But actually, it's come be a kind of sort of a catchphrase for Mo. That wah, like
Wah,
when something
yeah.
is really shocking to him.
It's gotten much bigger since then, actually. You know, recording Wiggum a couple of months ago, I actually threw my neck out. It's the wimpiest injury you can possibly get.
And you work out a lot.
And I tend to work out, exactly.
Well, you might want to say for the DVD audience where the voices for Moe and Wiggum came from, too, if you care to.
Moe is based on John Lovitz, of course. And
No, John Lovitz is a Moe.
And so is Wiggum.
Yes, I'm a Moe. And could you, Al and Mike, stop kissing?
No, we can't.
We can't.
Moe was grown out of me trying to get Al and Mike to stop kissing. My voice got so raspy.
So it's not just me.
No.
I bought this cool pencil holder.
Far out, man. I haven't seen a bong in years.
No one bought a wishbone necklace.
Moe was based on Al Pacino from Dog Day Afternoon. When I remember, Matt, the first audition I had was from Moe, and I was doing a play at the time where I was playing a drug dealer and I was talking like this.
Hey, so what episode? You started on what episode? Like third or fourth? Or
But what
the second, third, or fourth, I don't know which.
Yeah,
but everything
I
that
always
aired,
think of you as the new guy.
But everything that aired had Hank in it. It was always.
Technically, I am.
You came in and re-recorded some of the voices because
Yes,
we
you
had
had
a
a guy
different
named
Moe.
Chris
and-
Collins doing Moe.
Which never aired. It was always you on the air.
Right. Oh, is that bad?
You know, it's funny. Al Pacino loves me.
That is funny.
On board. Baby on board. Something, something. Burt Ward.
I don't know what's the first one I recorded myself, but then I re-recorded an episode or two, just a line or two. But you also based Moe on that the series of those crank phone calls.
Yeah, there were those tapes that were floating around, phone calls to Red
Right.
at the Tube Bar. We had no idea where it came from, but now you can go on the internet and find out the whole scoop. We were paying tribute to those crazy
and,
phone calls.
and I was talking like Pacino, young Pacino up here, and you said you wanted to be raspy like Red, so I made it raspy, and that was Moe.
Who does the voice of the manager there?
That's Harry.
That is Harry.
Oh.
When I go out in public a lot, out there, talking to places, people say, "You look like Moe," and it's like I know Moe was designed after a gorilla. They took a gorilla.
People think you look like Moe?
No, they think I look like Moe. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I look like Principal Skinner. Eat your heart out.
I always thought you looked like Al. Al's lover.
As a director, when I look at off-model drawings of Moe, I let them go through production because I figure he's so ugly people won't really catch on.
And
So-
yet he looks like
Mike
me.
is crying.
Interesting note.
Why would they think that? Because people sometimes go to me, "Oh, you should do a voice. You have a cartoon voice," and I go like, "What does that mean, asshole?"
It means you sound like Wally Cox.
I don't think it's a compliment. It's just how I talk.
You do
I know,
kinda
you do sound like Wally
Cox.
Underdog.
And he, well,
Well, now that
say
you
it.
mention it, you sound like Wally Cox, who was the voice of Underdog. It's a compliment. Wally Cox was best friends with Marlon Brando,
Really?
whose
Yes, he
son
was.
Miko Brando, my friend, is in the other room as we speak. What does this have to do with this episode? Nothing. What do I have to do with this episode? Nothing. That's why I'm saying what I am. Being consistent.
Stuck him somewhere.
That's what Elvis gave his mother, a pink Cadillac, I guess. I don't know what this is doing in a Beatles parody.
Well, in
here
the
we
Albert
go.
Goldman book about Elvis, they said that was the thing that nearly broke Elvis's budget. He was giving everybody a Cadillac in the mid '60s.
That will eat into your budget.
Question for a Pou de Beaumarchais. Isn't it true that you're really an Indian? By the many arms of
Isn't that Hank Along Came Polly Azaria?
Not in theaters anymore, but available on DVD soon, I imagine. This was one of the first episodes I remember doing a lot in.
Doing a lot?
Having a lot of material to do, having my
Really?
characters
Really?
featured in.
Flaming Moe's?
You mean this is
Yeah.
the first episode you remember that they actually used you?
Pretty much.
Where you felt
great.
like, well,
One
I'm not
reason is
wasting
that
my
the
time
first-
today.
Well, it was the first time everyone was nice to me. Let's put it that way.
We were nice.
No, what's great about writing for your characters is that you could get a laugh with a single line, and it was great. If the lines were semi-funny, you'd figure out a way of pulling a real big laugh out of those lines.
Well, also what happened too is at the beginning we were doing Homer and Marge stories or Bart, so the other characters got fleshed out as the seasons progressed.
It's one of the great sadnesses for me that Harry gets to do Johnny Carson and not me.
Hmm.
I always want to do Johnny.
Why is he wearing a fez? Mark?
The Fez was because of legal reasons, where we were saying it was...
Couldn't do the Karnak?
At that point, we had to have something that distinguished it from...
People might think that was film
the
footage.
Carson would wear his turban with the...
Yes.
So we changed it to a Fez.
Yeah.
You would have had legal problems if that character was in a turban?
Well, you might remember in the script he was called elderly talk show host.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
never called Johnny Carson.
But we've seen him in a turban in an earlier episode doing Karnak. Some of this is Al and I. We used to write for Carson. And we had a bunch of old Karnaks we had to burn off.
St. Elsewhere. What is the message on Mother Teresa's answering machine? That's a real one we wrote.
Did that one make it to the air? Or you just had that one?
No, he cut it, and then we put it on an Alf episode.
Here's George.
There he is.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Where did you get that?
I remember you guys came back glowing. You were said he was so nice and he looked great and all that.
Oh, it was a huge thrill.
Oh man!
Wow, what a nice fella.
My brother-in-law actually is a huge Beatles fan and saw George Harrison and had that moment with him. And George was so unhappy when my brother-in-law accosted him. My brother-in-law said, "It can't be!" And George said, "No, it can't."
I imagine if I'd been one of them, you'd just get so sick of it after, all that time. If everyone wants to just talk to you and always ask about the same 6 years in your life.
Yeah.
Here's a gag. My daughter Jamie, who's watching in the other room, asked me yesterday, why are you guys always bagging on the Grammys?
Well, I don't know why we slammed the Grammys and Johnny Carson a lot. And I remember Dan Castellaneta at the table readings when we'd do it would turn to me and say something like, "Take that," or "That'll show them." It was always very unmotivated.
We only slam awards we don't think we have any possible chance of winning.
There's a perception that the Grammys are given out too frequently. I mean, that they're kind of a silly award, but Johnny Carson, I don't know, everybody really likes.
He did us a favor.
He's such a dream on the show.
He was very charming.
He employed me for a year.
He fired us.
Did you ever ask him to do a show?
He did a show.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he was great and really
that's what you
nice.
said?
Yep, played
I
himself.
can't hear. I got this thing going in my ear.
That was one of the, most thrilled to meet a celebrity I ever was meeting Johnny Carson at The Simpsons that day.
Oh, so what's your Carson impression? I never heard you do it.
I just did it.
Oh, you did? Wow.
Before. I guess the guess this is why. Harry does
I
it.
was off having
Johnny
a tryst
Carson.
with Al Jean.
He's weird.
Here's a nice little piece
Johnny
of animation.
Carson.
I
Al
think
Jean
that
and
David
Mike
Silverman
Reese.
had a hand in this.
John, your Johnny Carson sounds like Casey Kasem.
I know. That's what I was trying to do.
Meanwhile, the group.
Now, this is a very clever, subtle Beatles homage.
Yeah, like the Let It Be sessions. Now, Mark, aren't some of the poses in this actually taken from the pictures in the Let It Be album?
Well, also we watched it, and the actual compositions and camera angles are spot on from Let It Be.
Wow.
That's great.
Like this, you mean? This stuff?
I know about this.
Did your dad ever shoot the Beatles?
Yes, he did.
Mark's
John,
dad's
John
a
Lennon
famous
and
photographer.
my father's a photographer who shot John Lennon, photographically, that is, and
that shot is exactly
that
from
is exact.
the Let It Be album.
And he also photographed Ringo Starr. And also the thing I remember thinking that I think we're the only TV show that has ever had all of the three surviving Beatles to appear. Because we've also had Ringo and Paul.
David Merkin recorded Paul, and he flew to England to do it. And he said to Paul, now that we've got the three of you, we could just mix it together and make a new Beatles song. And he said Paul was really scared for about a minute. Like, oh my God, you better not. And then he realized he was joking. Also very nice, according to David. He said he was just a great guy. And Linda also.
Yeah, that was
pitched me
another
the
episode
idea.
of mine.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I like this gag right
Notice the color of Yoko?
Yeah.
Sort of ashen colored. It's a little
Who's
evil.
the voice of Barney?
Dan.
Who? Sounds like
Castellaneta.
Bobcat Goldthwait, doesn't it? I said, doesn't it? I will not be ignored.
I would always think we'd get a guest star who was like George Harrison, and then we would make fun of the singing at the top of the roof, like the Let It Be album, and then they would do a joke about it and go, do they realize we're making fun of one of their things? Like, I don't know if they did, but it'd just be amazing to me that they'd let us refer to it and make a joke about it.
There are perfectly good answers to
How about those pupils, Mark?
Yeah, a little big. They're generous.
You bastard.
Yeah. Okay, that's another back of the Sgt. Pepper album.
With a butt
reference.
crack, yeah.
Yep, with a butt crack.
Ringo was awfully
Was Julie
nice.
Kavner sick
Ringo
this
too?
week?
No, that's great.
Where the hell's Marge?
Those are
You
the
got the
actual outfits
costume.
the different Beatles wore.
and also,
Well, what's
at
funny
the
about
rooftop
this is
concert.
You notice their hair blowing, which normally we don't do that, but that was what happened in the and Let It Be.
Well, also, since this was the premiere, they made life-size cutouts of these guys. And so in the writer's room, we have Barney dressed like John Lennon, but no one knows why he's got that coat on.
I
Nobody
still
remembers
have the
that's where-
Apu cutout.
You still do?
Dressed as whoever he's dressed as there.
Human fly here.
Why didn't that become a recurring character?
Human fly.
Human fly guy. Now, the Dapper Dans, I saw him like a year ago at Disneyland, and they told me they still get requests for Baby on Board.
Oh, that's so
That's
great.
That's great, huh?
Do they do it?
Oh, sure.
Wow.
It's Disneyland.
It's been done. Pretty, huh, Chief?
It sure is, Lou.
Lou is also voiced by Hank.
Who's based on Stallone?
Yeah.
Wiggum was still a little different then.
Wiggum's higher now. More whiny. Not on pot or anything.
Why do all the episodes seem to be about the same length and time?
This was an episode where Mike and I thought, oh, this was a good last episode for us to have done when we went off to do something else. And now 5 times I've said that. This is the last Simpsons I'll ever work on.
That whole end bit, that was an ad-lib from Dan Castellaneta,
Great
wasn't
show.
it?
Yes, it was.
But I'd like to...
Oh, the parody of Get
Yeah.
Back?
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
based on the
yeah,
John Lennon
yeah.
thing at the end of
I'm
Get
just saying,
Back.
our cast contributes. They're funny.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Except John Lovitz, he's gay.
There you go.
Gay as in happy.
Now, the question for all our fans is why John Lovitz comments on an episode he's not in, but did no commentary for the Critic DVD.
I wasn't asked to.
Get a phone.
Shh.